there's God is in the house. And I don't like to move when I feel so strong as I do right now. There's a song that keeps running in my spirit, and it's Blessed Assurance, Jesus is mine. Oh, what a foretaste of glory divine, heir of salvation, looking above, born of His Spirit, and washed in His blood. Do you know that chorus? This is my story. This is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story, and this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. One more time, this is my story. This is my story, and this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story, and this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. See, the thing that I like about my God is that no matter what situation that I'm going through, no matter what I'm facing, I have a blessed assurance. I have a confidence in my God. And then the next thing that just comes up, that just rises up in my spirit just now, it's tears so sweet to trust in Jesus, just to take Him at His word, and just to rest upon His promise, and just to know thus says the Lord. Jesus, Jesus, how I trust Him, how I prove Him more and more. See my Jesus, Jesus, my precious Jesus, go for the grace to trust Him more. See that same thing for a second. See, if it wasn't for just trusting, just knowing that there is a God. And I like to add this to this song. Jesus, 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 something happens when I call you. When I call you. Someone sing that. When I call you, something happens when I call you. When I call you, something happens when I call you. When I call you, Just let that sink in. Let the very tangible presence of God just sink in. So in these moments, I don't have to say a word. There's healing taking place right now. There was someone that had pain that was in their arm, going down into their arm, into their hand. That's healing them right now. The lady in the white dress, I just want to say that I see God about to do a sovereign move in your life. There's been a lot of difficulty that you've experienced lately, and you were actually saying the only way out is if you move. And God says He's about to move and it's going to be sovereign. Nobody is going to be able to take credit from it. Nobody is going to be able to say that they helped you. It's going to be God did this for me. It's like I just see from heaven, it's like the floodgates are about to open up like never before over your life. And if you just lift your hands, Pastor, I don't know if I can have somebody standing here. If you just lift your hands, the power of God is going to touch you and do the work also in your body that you've been asking God to do. There it goes. So we count it through. 1, 2, 3. There it is. I also cut any words that were spoken from a previous relationship that has brought doubt, unbelief, and just hurt now in the name of Jesus. I rebuke those words. I cut them right now in Jesus' name, and I decree and declare life from this moment forward in Jesus' name. I command the witchcraft that has been coming against you to go now in Jesus' name. There was a lift that just happened off of you. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Is it happening? Is it happening? Is it happening? Man, can I prophesy to you? Can I just tell you that you're beautiful? And that God loves you very, very much. And that He knows exactly where you are. But I just see the heart of the Father towards you. And I just want to say that God loves you so very much. And what you're experiencing now is just temporary. And God's going to begin to visit you in the midnight hour and just wrap His arms around you and let you know how important that you are to Him. Okay? I just see, it's like in your back, there's times that you have severe pain. Is that correct? Where At times it's hard for you to stand up. And if you just, there it goes, just the power of God just touching your back right now. You feel that, it's God. There it goes, right now, in Jesus' name. Thank you, Lord, for touching her back. In Jesus' name. In Jesus' name. If you've been over, you'll notice that there's no back pain. Just bend over for me. Realize it. Do that for me. You feel any back pain anymore when you do that? It's better? Alright. You had, and even when you did this, there was like pain, right? Do that. There's no more pain. God healed you. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. He's a good, good God. Good dad. Good dad. Good dad. I love my Jesus. I love my Jesus. Oh, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Let's just get into the word real fast. And then we'll minister to some other people. Who was the person that had the pain in their arm? Is that? I felt like there was someone that had a pain in their arm that got a pain. Praise God. Well, since the last time that I've seen you guys, family, I have gone to 5 countries. I have gotten married to a beautiful South African. Amen. And I have been all over. I cannot tell you how many airplanes that I was on last year. I just know from the month of October, it was 14 airplanes. And that was just in the States alone. In September, I went from Joburg to Victoria, then back to Cape Town, and back to Joburg, then to Kenya, and then back here. And I think that was about 8 airplanes. But since I've seen you, you've seen God move powerfully. I've seen cancer, where cancer has literally dissolved. I have seen limbs grow. I'm talking about fingers that weren't there. I ministered to a lady in Kenya on national television where all of her joints, they had taken, they beat her so bad that her elbows and arms and all that was just broken. And we watched how God supernaturally healed her to where she could actually walk without crutches and move her elbows and stuff. We're talking that there were elbows that were shattered, and it ended up just locking like that. And that's how she lived for maybe 10 to 15 years of her life. Not just that, I've seen the prophetic word, just stepping out in faith and releasing a prophetic word and watching how God just answers it. I remember I walked out the door here, and one of the last things I told one of the families, I said, "You were pregnant, and you don't even know it yet." And maybe 2 months later, they took me out to a loving meeting in Cape Gate. Before they told their pastor, before they told their family, they took me out and they said, "We were actually 3 months pregnant, and we thought it was something else." And when we went to the doctor was giving us a bad report. That's what they were expecting. And when they came back and said that we were pregnant for 3 months, I think it was, it blew their mind. It was like, wow. You know, and so I always say this, I always say if you're going to go out, if you get a prophetic word, there's 2 things. It can either become a judgment to your life or a delay, or it can propel you into your destiny. And so what ended up happening is when someone told me I was going to Nairobi, and I had no schedule to go there, within a week and a half I went to Nairobi. And in fact, the money manifested the Friday before I was supposed to leave on Monday. And I had booked a plane ticket from Joburg to Nairobi, and I was still in Cape Town. And so now I had to get to Cape Town to Joburg to catch the plane. And maybe 30, 40 minutes later, somebody called me and said, "I hear you're going to Nairobi. what do you need? And I said, I just need a plane ticket to Cape Town. And they said, oh, okay, no problem. I'll pay that for you. So they said, I'm going to take you out to lunch. Little did I know they were going to put not just the amount for the plane ticket, Pastor, but they also bought me a brand new wardrobe and different things that I needed for the trip. See, when God gives you a prophetic word, you have a requirement, I like to say, to put it into action. So one of the things my wife and I do is that we actually war over the prophetic word over our lives. But before I get into my message, babe, do you want to say something real fast? Come. This is Kerry. We met in a church in Cape Town. I went and preached there. She came up there to get prayed for. I passed her up 3 times. And then I prophesied to her. And little did I know I would actually be the fulfillment of that prophetic word. It was a good one. And then we stayed in contact and we started getting serious in September. I went to the States actually to get my grandparents' wedding bands. And that's my great-grandparents, and this is my great-grandfather's wedding band. And a cool story is that each generation in our family actually start out with this wedding band. And it's weird. I mean, my great-grandfather wore this in war. You know, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, we got engaged on November 1st. November 29th, I planned a surprise wedding. And she pitched up and she said, yes, thank God. So this is my ex-girlfriend, my ex-fiance, and my ex-best friend, and now my wife.
Hello everybody. So nice to meet you all in here. What a presence of God. It's amazing. I can just feel His love so strong here. I just wanted to share something with you that happened to us in December. We went on a missions trip to Zambia. That was like my honeymoon. Be prepared if you marry a missionary or a pastor. And when we came back from Zambia, our car got stolen and wrecked. And it got returned, which was really nice. But nevertheless, it was wrecked. So, after a long ordeal, we finally getting it fixed. And because of that, we had to stay in Joburg for about 2 months longer than planned. And we ended up driving to Durban and taking a really long trip from Durban to Cape Town. It took us about a week to do that, mainly because my car was just like not in a condition to drive. And you know, it's funny how God works when you see His hand in things afterwards. And during the time, you're like, what's going on? Come on, God, like, where are you? But no matter what the enemy tries to do to you or what attacks may come your way, God always turns it around. And that's usually when you see His greatest miracles and His hand in your life. I mean, how easy would it be if we just sat back and everything was hunky-dory and there were no trials and tribulations? We wouldn't be able to actually have a testimony of how good God really is. And because of my car being stolen and wrecked, and a plan from the enemy trying to delay our future and our mission, God turned it around. And we ended up ministering to so many different people on the spot. A man was sick with a terminally ill disease for 40 years. Sure. And because of my car being wrecked and because of traffic, we ended up taking a turn to the left, which wasn't planned at all. We were actually going to drive right past a little town. But the Holy Spirit said, okay, turn left. So we turned left down a dinky little road full of big stones, and halfway through we were like, okay, maybe we shouldn't have done this, but we carried on. And we ended up meeting a guy there, a man who was 70 years old. And he also took a wrong turn. And he didn't know where he was going either. And we met up with him randomly. We were having supper. And you know when you just randomly start talking to somebody? And then it turns out he was sick for 40 years. We prayed for him, ministered to him, he got healed on the spot. And so many things like that have happened. And I just want to encourage you that maybe you think that the enemy's stronger, or maybe he's really getting to you at the moment and getting into your mind. Well, let him do that because our God is stronger. And he's going to turn that situation around. And you're going to have an amazing testimony of how God has been amazing in your life. And I just want to, I know it sounds strange, but I just want to tell you how much God loves you. And I feel the presence of God, the love of God so strong here. Ephesians 3:16, that he would grant you according to the riches of his glory, to be strengthened with might by his Spirit in the inner man, that Christ may dwell in your hearts by faith, that ye, being rooted and grounded in love, may be able to comprehend with all saints what is the breadth and length and depth and height, and to know the love of Christ, which passes knowledge, that you may be filled with all the fullness of God. So he really loves us, and no matter what's going on, he will turn the situation around. So, I'm done. Thank you.
Praise God. It's amazing how that word love, the love in Christ. Christ in the Greek means anointing. And you can't have an anointing without intimacy. And so we have to love the intimacy of God, or the intimacy that we have with God, to know the riches that our God has, and how much he cares for us, and how much he loves us. Does that make sense? Because without intimacy, see, in the garden, God placed Adam and Eve in a garden. But before he placed them in a garden, he placed them in Eden. See, the intimacy of God is like that garden, and Eden is like the glory of God. So we experience the tangible presence of God. We experience, or we become more aware that God is on the inside of us because of the intimacy that we have because we accepted Jesus. Amen? All right, we're going to go to Psalms 46 and 10. Thank you once again, Pastor, for allowing me to be here. This was the only weekend really that I had that I didn't plan to be anywhere, because I was actually, we were actually supposed to do an airplane back to the States tomorrow. And about, was it last weekend, babe? We were praying in the car because we needed to make some decisions, and we were just praying in the Holy Spirit. And I looked at Kerry and I said, I think I'm extending my visa next week. And she said, no, I want to go to America. And I'm like, but babe, I really think that we're extending the visa. And she said, no, we're going to America. And then I said, okay, well, we'll give it till Wednesday. And if God doesn't change his mind by Wednesday, then we're going to go ahead and extend the visa. Was it Tuesday morning? No, Monday morning. That's in 48 hours. We were in Cape Town extending the visa. Someone look at your neighbor and say, God has a plan. Psalms 46 and 10 says this: cease striving, or I like to say cease from striving, and know that I am God. I will be exalted above the nations, and I will be exalted in the earth. Verse 11, the Lord of hosts is with us. For the God of Jacob is our stronghold. Selah, our praise. Father, I thank you for your word. Thank you for this time. I thank you for this privilege. Thank you for your amazing presence that is in the room. Thank you, Father, for the next few moments that you're going to speak directly to our hearts.
that it's not going to be me speaking, but you're going to hide me in your precious Holy Spirit. And I thank you for our revelation from the very throne room of heaven. I thank you also, Father, that right now the prophetic mantle, the atmosphere for the prophetic and for healing and expectation of just who you are is in the air. And Father, I am believing at this moment there is a faith that is on the inside of me that you are going to do great and mighty things and demonstrate your heart in this place. And I just want to give you all the glory and all the honor and all the praise. And we say amen, and amen. That word cease means to just drop your hands. Someone just put your hands in the air and just drop them. And that's what it means. It means to sit there with what you're dealing with what you're facing, whatever the situation, and say, I can't do this. God has to do it. And it literally, David is saying, I'm just going to do this. And keep walking. Because the situation is so big that God has to take care of it for him. I remember, as I was getting ready this morning, I remember when I had cancer. I was supposed to die about 3 years ago now, from sinus cancer. I had a tumor in my face that was really big. When the doctors did surgery, they actually said that I should have been dead a couple of weeks before because the cancer had spread from here all the way to my ears. To my ear on this side. I couldn't hear, I couldn't see, I couldn't talk, I couldn't breathe. I could barely function. Praise God that he came the night before, and literally what had happened was when the doctors did the surgery, even though they found the cancer was all dried up. The tumor, which had been growing for at least 3 months, had shrunk in size, and they could not even understand why it wasn't adding up to what the scans had said. In the theater, they said there was a point that I almost actually died, and it was crazy. Even rolling me into the theater, they were having me sign extra forms. They were saying, where do you want the bone growth to grow in your body? I mean, this is how serious it was, because they were going to take bone from my hip here, put it in my abdomen so it could grow. And what ended up happening is that when they opened and they took the roof out of my mouth, they found that the cancer had shrunk and died, and it was literally a miracle. It took 2 months before I could actually get up and walk or even look at TV or anything, because for 2 months I had to keep a mask over my face because my optic nerve was damaged. And so if the light got in, it could almost make me where I was totally blind. And so they wanted to keep me in darkness. Now in that darkness, I learned to pray in the Holy Spirit on the inside, because they took the roof out of my mouth so I couldn't open my mouth. So now I developed where even as I'm talking in English, I'm actually praying in the Holy Spirit. Some would say I have a river of living waters. And see, that river of living waters is flowing in you at all times. And so I remember as we're going through this, and I couldn't get out of pain. I was in constant pain at all times. And what ended up happening is that they did another scan. They did a scan from my top of my head all the way through my body, because they couldn't figure out what was going on. And when they did that scan, they found a brain tumor that was actually on the pituitary gland. Now, if you don't know much about medicine or what that means, that is technically an inoperable brain tumor. if you get so close, you can end up as a vegetable because it's like so close to the brain stem that it's like they don't even bother. And it's so small that even if I was to get the surgery, it would cost so much money. So we got that scan and we prayed. My family and I prayed. And it came to the point where God just had to show up on the scene. And I had to learn to rest that God was going to take care of the situation. And so when we sit there, and there are times when we get the prophetic word, or we get a promise from God, or we know that God means that we need to have this, that we just need to rest, because rest is warfare. Someone look at your neighbor and say, rest is warfare. Because see, your enemy is wanting you to sit there and fight. And as you're fighting, you are losing resources and you are getting exhausted. And you are literally trying to win a battle that was already paid for. And so I prayed, I sent my petition up to God. God told me, son is taken care of. I left it at that. And as I left it at that, I went for a scan a week later. Now, me being Micah, being impatient a lot of times, I could not sit there and wait another 2 weeks to find out if I had a brain tumor. And by this time, I had learned enough about medical terminology that I went and ordered my own disc to see if I had a brain tumor. I popped the disc into my computer. I pull up the scan because now it's a different viewpoint and all that to find out that I don't have a brain tumor. I went to the doctor a week later, and he confirmed you don't have a brain tumor. I had to cease. I had to stop everything and just rest and let God take care of the situation. And that is what this is saying, to just drop your hands and just rest and know that I am God. Because see, the word confusion, where it says in, I think it's 1 Chronicles, that the battle is the Lord's. That word battle there in the Hebrew actually means to feed upon. Your enemy wants you to feed upon the battle that you're facing. When David came to Goliath, there was 3 things. There was a sword, there was a spear, and there was a javelin. You can look it up. That word sword actually means a mirror in the Hebrew. And the reason why is that the enemy wants you to look at what it's telling you that you are. When you have to think about this, there is a big sword and a small David. And David could look at himself and see that, hey, I'm a young man. I'm immature. I'm not smart enough. I haven't been prepared for this like everybody else. I couldn't fit in the armor that the king tried to give me, or that man tried to give me. You know, a lot of times man wants to equip you according to their purpose and what they think that you need to be. And that's where David was at. And David had to take off the armor, take off the equipment that man wanted. See, if I would have waited for the stamp of approval to go into ministry. See, I went to Bible college. I went to this. I went to that. And I tried since I was 21 years old to get man's approval. I dished out a lot of money to try to please man. Even in business. I've been in business since I was 11 years old, and I tried every strategy grow my business. And I had to come to the place where it was me and God and stop trying. You're looking at someone that has started their life over 3 times. I lost everything in a major natural disaster. I was literally kicked out of my own city, my own culture, where I was from, not by choice, but because of a storm that came that wasn't even supposed to show up. And I had to restart my life at 19 years old. I was supposed to go to one of the best universities in the state of Louisiana. Had to leave it all. And then they decided to discriminate against me because of where I was from. Then the second time is that I went and I was in church and I was doing good. I was a youth pastor at one of the largest churches. I refused to compromise on the Word of God. Refused. Within 24 hours, they had kicked me out of their church. I lost everything. To make matters worse, I was in a car accident 2 weeks later that almost left me paralyzed. I got up, I thought I was getting my life back together. Within 2 weeks of that, 2 other car accidents happened. 3 car accidents in a month and a half, and it wasn't my fault. Lost everything. The third time was when I had cancer. And that's when I found this verse. Because God and I had a very nice heart-to-heart. Have y'all ever had a come to Jesus meeting? Where you're like, God, we just need to work out. The word says in Ecclesiastes and in Micah chapter 6 and 8, it says to work out your salvation in fear and trembling. So me and God was working out our salvation. Out my redemption. Out my confidence in the Word. And while I'm sitting there laying in a bed dying, God and I are talking because, see, I have a purpose. I have a prophetic destiny. I know what I'm called. Even before I was born, it was said that I would go to the nations. That I would operate in the spirit of Elijah. That people would be healed, set free, delivered. I got a prophetic word Thursday that I would step foot into every country, but before I was even born, it was prophesied that I would step foot in every single country on this continent because God made me for the nations. But see, I was dying in a room with cancer, riding with a purpose. And see, I needed God to step in and set me free. And see, what happens is that the enemy will sit there and they will show you their version and their picture of who you are. And then they'll get you to believe in that picture, in that version. And then the next thing you know, they have actually planted strongholds in your mind. It's what Paul talks about as vain imaginations, and that's why he says to renew your mind daily. Friday, when I left Pastor Ivan and his wife at Mother Me, I stayed there at Canal Walk. And it wasn't that I got resistance everywhere I went. I'm looking for a pair of running shoes. So I went in and I said, I slightly pronate on this side. I need this type of shoe. And I'm looking for this one shoe specifically. Oh, you pronate. They bring me out every single shoe for pronates. I don't pronate. I can use, just do not bring me pronating shoes. But every single store brought me pronating shoes. Finally, we go to Clicks. All I want is my medicine that I use, my allergy tablets and stuff something I've done all over South Africa, not just in Cape Town. We're talking Joburg, Durban, PE. I mean, anywhere in South Africa at a Clicks, I walk in, get my prescription. She couldn't even spell my name. And then she couldn't understand me, and she couldn't understand my wife. And then she has the audacity, the nerve to question my marriage. Because we're trying to use her Clicks card. And she's like, y'all are married? No, you're American. I'm like, I have a ring. I went through 3 months of this ring, all right? You cannot tell me I'm not married. And then what business is it of you? Please. The devil is alive. Had to fight. But the whole time, I had to sit there and renew my mind. Because, see, I knew my God was setting me up for a miracle this week. See, the day before, somebody went to lunch with Kerry and I, and she said, I just want to give you the storage unit of all of my furniture and stuff that I had, because you prophesied to me and I need to succeed into your life. Prophesied that they would leave South Africa in 6 months and have a new life, and it would happen quickly. Within 2 weeks, they were in America. Within a week, they were married. They came back, put everything in storage, and then went back to America. And so she said, I don't know what you need. I just know I have a whole house. It's yours. We needed to find a place to live. I had no money. I had no money to put down a deposit or whatever. As we're going through looking for the shoes and stuff, I'm praying. I said, God, I need money. He says, because we put her piano up for sale, he says, a family's coming tonight. They're going to buy the piano for 8,000 rand. I said, seriously? He said, seriously. I looked at my wife on the escalator, and I said, babe, someone's coming. They're going to buy the piano for 8,000 rand. I don't want no lip. Exactly what I said. You have to take it. She said, but I want 10,000. No. 8,000 rand. She said, okay. We were leaving Canal Walk, right? As we're leaving Canal Walk, someone randomly sends a message and says, I don't know if you're busy tonight, but can we show up at 6:30, which turned into really 7:50 and 7:30, to go ahead and to look at the piano. They looked at the piano. The deal almost fell through. And I looked at the lady and I said, ma'am, what is it that you'll take for the piano today? I'll take 8,000. We looked at each other, we said yes. As she's walking out the door, God drops a prophetic word into my spirit for her. It actually confirmed and spoke directly into her life what she went through the last year. To the point that she was actually praying and asking God, can you send someone to my church to even give me a prophetic word? And she went to buy a piano. Nothing is by happenstance. But we have to remember to renew our mind daily. Yesterday I went to a restaurant. They messed up everything. We got our food out, hodgepodge. And then finally we just said, we're done. Just please don't even try and bring me another potato because you don't know what you're doing. I went back because I wasn't paying the bill. Because God told me that I needed to minister to my waiter. Amazing guy. None of this was his fault. I went back to him and I put money in his hand. And I said, I know you weren't taken care of correctly, but God's going to bless you abundantly. It's not about the circumstance. It's not about what you're facing. It's about the heart of the Father. And see, if the enemy can get you to believe in their lie, when you look in the mirror, and you start living that out, then you begin to start putting walls up against you and God. And that's really what that javelin means in the story with David. It means walls. It's a blocking. And so if you believe in the picture that you'll never have a successful business, or you're not equipped enough, or you can't do this or you can't do that, then you'll believe it. And then that frustration between you and God will build up, and then you don't see the manifestation of God's glory in that area. See, in business, a lot of times we wonder, how do people have successful businesses? How is it that they are blessed beyond measure? You don't know the trial and tribulation that they went through. When you go to my family's restaurant in New Orleans, you look at 38 years of business, of almost losing that sucker over and over and over and over. I mean, my cousin got stuck with it because of tax evasion. It wasn't even his. But he stuck with it. And as he stuck with it, now it actually provides to let him travel and minister. Even in my life, I've seen how I've stuck with businesses that I've started, that I've actually sold and gotten money for. Last year alone, I was supposed to make $1.5 million off of a particular business. I shut it down to come to South Africa. Because it's about demonstrating the Father's heart. Before I left for South Africa, as I began to close, like I said, I was set to make $1.5 million. I was set to do a lot of things last year. I was only supposed to be in South Africa for 3 months. About a month and a half in, God said, son, I want you to stay. June 6th, when I was leaving, supposed to leave to get on an airplane in Cape Town, I was in Joburg at a net bank. At that net bank, I was speaking to 200 marketing directors, which, funny enough, Pastor, that was actually my business, was media marketing and public relations. I marketed all companies to get them in different markets throughout the world. I have actually marketed all companies that are in Asia, Vietnam, the Philippines, Guatemala, different places like that, that I just took from scratch, prayed, believed God for the design, designed it, no context. Instantly it happened. I don't know anybody in those countries. All I know is God called me to do that specific thing. But anyway, getting off on a rabbit trail, back to South Africa. 2 weeks. Yeah, two weeks before I was leaving for South Africa, the people that said that they were sponsoring me backed out. They were supposed to pay for my plane ticket and different things like that. They said they're not going to do it. 4 or 5 days after that, I end up actually getting the money for the plane ticket. Now, I tried to save $300 by hodgepodging my tickets. I went from America to South Africa on 7 airplanes. If God called you to America, do not try to save money like that. It is not worth it. It is only a 22-hour flight and an 18-hour flight from Joburg directly into Atlanta. It is not 40 hours like I did. By the time I got on in Amsterdam to Cape Town, my knees hurt so bad from being on so many airplanes. Never, ever again will I do that. I went to go to Kenya. I could have actually actually bought the ticket for Kenya the first time in July, but I would have took 24 hours to get to Kenya through Ethiopia. Really? And I would have had a 10-hour layover there. I spent the extra $300. It's worth it, trust me. But don't fly Kenyan Airways, they're horrible. So, SA is better, okay? I'm being honest with you. You would think you go to Kenya in a Kenyan plane? No. SA. And then there's SA. Didn't have that. But the story is that the day before, I didn't have luggage. I didn't have certain things. I didn't even have the proper undergarment to actually come to South Africa. I was needing all that. And I'll never forget this. I get a phone call early in the morning, and they said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I was thinking about going and getting coffee. I'm supposed to leave tomorrow morning for the flight. Meet me at this department store. I'm going to buy your luggage." Okay. We went there. Not only did they buy me luggage, but they brought me brand new shoes and socks. Now, because it was a lady, they didn't feel proper asking her to buy me undergarments. So I just left it, but she also gave me money. I remember she gave me money. A couple of checks from other people. I went to another store. I was going to go ahead and buy me. No, I didn't get the checks. I only had a certain amount of money in my bank account. So I was going to go ahead and I was going to buy what I needed and just come to South Africa with no money. And what happened was that I got there and they decided to reset the whole display. So what I normally would buy, they didn't have. I told my mom, okay, let's get dinner, and then we'll go back shopping someplace else. As we're getting dinner, someone calls me and says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm just eating lunch with my mom. Can you please meet me at a coffee shop? I need to talk to you." They met me at a coffee shop. I didn't know that I needed adapters for my cell phones and computers. They said, "My wife and I were praying for you, and we felt like we needed to buy this for you." So they gave me the adapters. And I said, "Okay, well, I'm here at the mall. Let me go ahead and I'll buy my undergarments." Little did I know that as I was shopping, that person was going to buy me all of my undergarments. They added t-shirts, they added a belt, they added all kinds of stuff. The bill came to over $500 right there. I stopped striving. I stopped trying. I stopped trying to make it happen on my own. And I stood to know that my God was with me. And so I don't know what you're facing. See, some of you right now, you are set up for a miracle, like Kerry and I. We are set up for a miracle. We have a storage unit worth of furniture. We have money in the bank, but we have no place to live. And we have to find a place tomorrow. But I finally came to the place where I do not care what it looks like or what I'm facing, because I know my God is going to take care of me. I'm not going to look at the picture that the enemy's giving me. I'm not going to let it take and put a stronghold in my mind. And I'm not going to let it stop me from being the channel of the heart of the Father on the earth. And that is what the enemy is trying to do to some of you today. They're actually trying to stop you from actually demonstrating the heart of who God really is. When we were in PE, we just wanted a place to stay for the night. And just like Kerry and I, we give stuff away all the time. All the time. It doesn't matter. The reason why I'm looking for shoes is because I took my running shoes off in Zambia and put them on the altar. The reason why, the only shoes I do own is these shoes, is because I gave away all my smart shoes. It actually works out because when you're traveling, you can get rid of stuff and then you have an excuse because you have more room in your luggage for new stuff. Because God keeps blessing you. A very good mentor of mine gave my wife a purse and she said, I'm giving you this purse, but tell God I don't want another purse because every time I give away a purse, I get 2 or 3 more purses. And that's what I experienced. And so I don't know where you're at this morning, but you're set up for a breakthrough. You're set up for a miracle. And God's about to show up and show out on your behalf. Because the first part of this year, and this is where the prophetic really kicks in, has been a year of alignment. Has been a year of God just positioning you and shifting you to where He wants you to be at. So that in the rest of the part of the year, you can actually see God's deliverance and how God's going to restore and how God's going to manifest in your life like never before. It says this when Peter was in jail. When Peter was in jail, Herod wanted to kill him, but he had to wait 8 days because of Passover. And on the 8th night, when he was supposed to get him in the morning to kill him, was when Peter was delivered. And the angel came and struck him. Now, if you follow anything, 8 means new beginnings. And I just want to say, for some reason, for the last 8 years, you have been traveling, you have been in storms, you have been asking God, why am I going through this? And God says that it ends today because you're stepping into new beginnings. And what Peter had to do, the first thing the angel of the Lord said to him was to gird yourself. Because if you go through stuff, if you go through any drama, anything, you have an intimacy with God, you have a revelation with God that nobody else has. You can represent Jesus like nobody else can to someone that's been through certain things. That's why it says in Revelation, by the word of our testimony. That word testimony means to break the silence. When you begin to be your own voice for God and break the silence, the enemy has to die, has to recognize. So Peter had to gird himself. He had to protect his intimacy, what he got in that season. And then the angel of the Lord said to him, put on your sandals. That word sandals means authority. He had to step into the new authority he got. But authority doesn't necessarily mean the anointing. So the angel of the Lord told Peter to wrap yourself in your cloak, or in the cloak. That's the anointing that was produced during the trials and tribulation. And that word wrap actually means to invest in the anointing. Invest in the revelation that God gave you and begin to operate in what God gave you in that season. See, when Jesus was in the Garden of Gethsemane, and Gethsemane means wine pressing, oil pressing or olive pressing. He literally was saying, Father, not my will, not what I decide, but that your legacy, that your destiny, what you determined for me in heaven to come to pass on the earth. So as he is sitting there in the secret place, working with God, to determine and working out his salvation and what God told him he needed to do, the anointing for the cross was being developed. You're stepping into a new season and a new dimension where you're going to see the character, the glory of God manifest in your life like never before. But you're going to come into a season where you are more aware of who God really is in your life. A lot of you have been asking God, is this really you? Are you real? Are you really going to operate on my behalf? Are you going to show up on my behalf? And God is saying, son, daughter, realize that even as I am jealous for you, that I wrap you in my glory. I protect you in my glory. And I am about to release the manifestation of who I really am in your life. And people are going to realize it. And they're going to come and they're going to say, how can I help you? How can I propel you? How can I make things happen for you? Because, see, there was a sound that was developed in your life, and that sound is going to cause the baby to leap in Elizabeth's belly or in the belly of other people. And that belly, that word, that what Elizabeth was carrying was John, and John means favor. So as you begin to talk, the favor is going to hit what's on people's lives. Because of the intimacy, because of the anointing that is on your life. Amen? It's a new season, it's a new day. One of the things that I had to realize when I went back to America, I wasn't the same person. I wasn't the young man that stood in this church that released the prophetic word and nobody responded and was scared and thought against God. I came to the point where I don't need someone to confirm the voice of God in my life. I came to the place where it's me or God, where we ride or die. God and I ride or die. I might be on Mayfield tires, but I'm still going forward. Praise God. Praise God. Come on, someone give God a hand of praise in this place. Just give God, just thank God. Thank God for who He is, what He's done. He's a good, good dad. Just real quickly, sir, I just want to say that I feel like there's a lot of labels that's been put on your life. I can see it's like just layers of labels that people have given you, and God's just removing those labels. And God's going to begin to show you who you really are in Him. And He's going to actually begin to develop a father's heart in your life, to realize that you're not just a father, but you're going to be a father to many. But you're going to actually understand the love of God. And people are going to walk up to you. I don't know if they're doing it now, but I just hear people walking up, see and hear people walking up to you, and they're saying, Papa. They're saying, Papa. And I feel like that's happened in the past, but God's saying that you're going to know the right answer to give them. And that God's called you, He's equipped you, and He loves you very much. Begin to invest, begin to sow seed into other people's lives, and watch how the sons and daughters will actually invest into your life. Amen. And I just want to say, your wife isn't here. Is that correct? Or are you married? Is she here? I just wanted to say that in that situation that she's dealing with and what's going on, because I feel like it keeps her enclosed, and that's what I'm seeing. God's going to deliver her, and I just see healing coming to her. I see like the walls are about to break down, and she's going to burst forth like never before. And I just see a mighty, like a freedom coming to her. And so I just hear the word of the Lord come to tell you that just to whisper in her ear and to pray, just say freedom. And that's what I just hear God say, just whisper freedom over her and to her. Even while she's sleeping, just whisper freedom. Kerry probably might know this, but I actually prophesy to her in her sleep. Every night I sit there and I prophesy to her and I decree and declare who she will be and what God's going to do with her in the earth. And surprisingly, in the last 3 months, I've watched my wife bloom and blossom like never before. You would never have gotten her to actually stand up here and speak to anybody. But words have power, and I feel like you just need to speak freedom over her life. But I see a deliverance coming to her, and she's getting out. I can see she's breaking out of the 4 walls that she's been in for a very long time. Okay? Let's just stretch our hands and let's pray. I thank you, Father God. I thank you, Father God, for this young man tonight. I thank you, Father God, you're going to raise him up to be a father to many. I thank you, Father God, you're going to show him your Father's heart and he's going to know your love. And I thank you for equipping him to know how to actually minister, how to speak into others' lives. And I thank you, Father God, just for a fresh download of heaven. Father, I thank you for his wife. I thank you for freedom. And I thank you for deliverance. I thank you, Father God, that you're going to do great and mighty things with her, Father God. And I thank you that their destiny as a couple, but also as an individual, will come to pass in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. God is a good, good daddy, a good, good God. Man, if you could just stand up for me. I just want to say that God is about to wow you. He's going to wow you like never before. I don't know. I just see a change coming. And God would say it's time to begin to prepare. I don't want to just say a nest, but prepare for a new nest. Does that make sense? A new place, because God's going to begin to bring you in that direction. It's going to happen suddenly. So just get ready for that. Begin to prepare for that. But also, it's like I see a bank account that hasn't been used for a very, very long time. And I see God putting money in that bank account. And it's going to happen supernatural. I just see, it's just like the windows of heaven is going to begin to open up over you. And I want to say that what was spoken or what was said to make things difficult, especially in your body, God says that you're not going to have those issues anymore. And it's going to be easy. Okay? It's going to be easy. I just want you to grab my hand and God's going to touch you. There's the healing power of God right there. There it is. Maybe speak to the heart right now. All the pain goes in Jesus' name. Right now in Jesus' name. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Just feel like you've been a long way. You've been walking for a very, very long time. I just see God blessing you. Blessing you. Blessing you. The mind shift now. In Jesus' name. Shifting of the mind. Great, great apostolic for business. For business. But I just need to get into the training. I see you're in a class right now, but immerse yourself in that training and just allow God to blossom you. but there's a change coming. Get ready for that. Amen. Amen. How are you? Are you from South Africa? Originally? Okay. What's your name? Patricia. You were born in Stellenbosch. For some reason, I just hear like God is saying that it's time for you, Patricia, to go back and sort some things out so that you can move forward. So with that being said, I just feel like God is going to just bring you through a season of healing and restoration of just who you are as a person. Okay? And God's going to sort out some things so that you can be the woman of God that He's called you to be. And I just want to say, get into training, get into a school to work towards ministry so that God can raise you up as the woman of God that He's called you to be. But God's going to bring you, I just see, because you've been asking God for, to open up certain things in the Word and confirm certain things and just open up your mind, because I can see that you're hungry for the things of God and for the Word of God. And I just want to say that it's like He's going to take you back to bring you forward, because there's some doors that need to be closed. So, is that your pastor? Okay. So I would just encourage you to get with him or whoever in the church and allow God to work through some of that in your life so that you can move forward. Full time. In the kitchen. Awesome. But the next confirmation. Alright. Because I've seen ministry. I see strong ministry in your life. Just get the training and where God's going to take you. It's going to be powerful. Amen. Amen. Alright. Praise God. And what's your guy's name? Okay. Okay, you got it. That's really awesome. You know, I only know 5 words. Micah, near, buy a donkey, I guess that's 2. Praise the air, foot sack. Those are the 5 words that I use. I use it in prophecy. Yeah, people, they take it. They actually start clapping when I use it. They agree. Actually, Dave, can you come up here? I feel like she has a
Well, I see that you're very, very hungry for God and what He's got for your future, your immediate future, like right now. You're waiting for answers to questions, and He is going to give you those answers, and He's already worked it out. You're waiting for something to be confirmed for what's going to be happening now, like next week kind of thing. And He is going to confirm that. And you're going to know, when you make your decision, as you make the decision, He's going to say that is the right one. You will make the right decision. And I don't know if you're in ministry or called for ministry, but I do see a pastor's heart. And you tend to you love people, people are drawn to you. And you end up helping them through problems and issues in their life. Where you're like, well, I don't know where the words came from, it kind of just happened. It's the pastor's heart in you. And this is a beautiful pair, a beautiful couple. And I see God in your relationship. He's going to take you as a couple into greatness and into bigger, better things. Like, there's like a breakthrough that's going to happen now. I don't have the time. I'm not going to make up the time, but it's like soon. There's going to be a big breakthrough.
And I don't know if you're currently working right now, but I just feel like as far as the business for both of you guys, that you're actually going to be leaving, and you're going to be leaning on each other, and you're going to be in business together. I don't know if that's this year or 5 years from now, but I just want to say that God is going to take you from where you're at. It's just a little preparation, a little training, and He's actually going to put you in business together. Because when God married you guys, it was two awesome hearts and two awesome anointings coming as one, and now that needs to operate as one. Okay? And so I just want to say, just wait for God and watch how God does it. It's going to be effortless. And really, I feel like this word was for you guys today. And I just want to say, prophesy Psalms 46 and 10 over your life. And then get Psalms 126 and begin to prophesy that over your life. Seriously begin to prophesy over it. And watch how it will actually fall into place like a dream. That's what Psalms 126 says in the first verse. It will fall into place like a dream. Amen. Amen. Amazingness. And breakthrough is coming. And I obviously you must be in the school of ministry or in some type of, just stick with it. Stick with it. And I don't know when you started, but follow it to the end and watch how God will launch you out. All right. And I feel like I need to say that because I can see in your heart you're ready to go now, but just let God finish the process. And let that importation of the anointing come in your life. Okay? Amen. Amazing people. Anybody else? Okay. Praise God. Smile. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. Okay. Is there somebody else? How are you in time? When I look at you, I see a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of information that you have actually, what's your name? Sorry. Honest. Like you actually, it's like you're not giving out. And it's the nice way. It's, okay, yes, thank you, Holy Spirit. It's like a plug that you plugged in, and everything is backing up. And you've been wanting to figure out, what am I going to do? How am I going to get satisfaction in life? All this kind of stuff has been running through your head. And God says that He wants you to take that plug out so that it becomes like a flowing river again, so that you can actually enjoy life. Does that make sense? Because I see just a lot on the inside of you, a lot of the word, a lot of life experience, a lot of amazing just treasures and gems that are in your life. And you put a cork in that champagne bottle. And God just wants you to take and pop that cork, and it's going to just explode. And when it explodes, it's like that youth, because you've been praying for the strength and like you are youth to come back to your life. It's going to hit you like never before. And you're going, is this your dad? Okay. Because the reason why I picked that up is like he's going to say, when is my dad coming home? And I heard his voice. And so it's like, when's my dad coming home? Why isn't he? It's like your feet is going to be like fire. And you're just going to take off and you're going to go places, go all over the place. And it's going to be amazing. Amazing. And that's what I see. And so just start writing the book. Start doing, there's a bunch of ideas that God's given you, especially in the last couple of weeks. Put that down on paper, pray for it, and I promise you at least 3 people are going to come this year and begin to invest in those ideas. I'm not saying I see complete ministry, but I see business and ministry going hand to hand in your life. But I also see where something happened, I want to say 3 years ago, 4 years ago, somewhere around that, in the past, because you put that pork in. And God's saying, son, it's just time to take that pork out and allow me to just activate you and use you mightily. Amen? Does that make sense? All right? Because I also, it's like as you're standing there, I can also feel the stiffness in your elbows and in your body and stuff like that. And God's just saying as you begin to move out, all that is going to be like, you know, rubber chicken again. Okay? And you'll just be like those things at car dealerships, clapping away. And it's going to be amazing. Amazing. Can you just take my hand? And the power of God's going to touch you. There it goes. Thank you, Father, for touching my friend, for shifting him, for just a fresh anointing coming to his life now. In the name of Jesus. There it is. There it is. A fresh anointing. Thank you, Lord. Fresh deep fire. Deep fire. Deep fire. Deep fire. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. There it goes. There it goes. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Lord. I also speak Psalms 104 over his life. It'll be a flame fire in the ministry. Digging wells and revival in Jesus' name. And in business, I thank you, Father. I thank you, Father. I thank you, Father. Oh, Karebekaya Samaleria. In Jesus' name. Thank you. What's your name? Yahoo. I can say that. With a J, right? Learn how to come. Oh, okay. Alright. Do you work with cars? Or are you a car salesman or anything like that? Okay. Alright. I just want to say to both of you guys, stop striving. Stop trying to sell. It's like sell yourself. Stop selling yourself short. Stop selling. And you're not, I'm looking. That's the word that came to mind. Say it one more time. You're not broken. But I felt like we needed to hear that in Afrikaans. You're not broken. You guys are not broken. What you're selling, who you are as a person, and your business, whatever it is, you're not broken. And God's actually restoring, and God's actually saying, I've taken a piece of coal and I'm making it into a diamond. And I guarantee you in the next month and a half that you're going to see an influx like never before, and you're going to see a breakthrough. Because even this week, you've seen a trickle in, a trickle there, and even last week, you're like, wow, finally I got the answer to prayer, but it wasn't completely what I needed. And God says, month and a half, watch it, the answer is going to be open, and it's going to be an influx. I just see just an influx of just power and just God doing great and mighty things for you guys. And I'm not sure where you're staying at. I just feel like that's temporary for you guys. I don't know why. I'm just seeing that. I see that God says it's permanent. He's going to make a place permanent. A place permanent with enough room and enough place for you guys to also expand. And I just don't mean that personally, but I also see that business-wise. There's a concept specifically for you that you have in your mind. I don't know if you're working on it right now, but it's almost like you see it as a storefront, but it hasn't actually got to that place yet. And God says this is the year. It'll happen towards the end of the year when you begin to see the manifestation of the storefront and what you've been looking for God to do in your life as far as business. So just press on through and just watch. God is going to do great and mighty things. Is that confirmation? Does that help? All right. And it's amazing. And also, I don't know why God just said your eyes are going to become clearer. Just not just spiritually, but I also feel like even as you drive at night, there's sometimes where it's hard for you